Good day. Welcome to Wondrous Schooling Academy. We have another lesson for us today, and it's a very good one. It's a very good one. Um, today, today's lesson is reading strategies, basically. Um, yeah, it's a very helpful topic. In a sense that it helps us to understand more aspects relating to the reading process. So I find this topic to be very helpful, and my fingers are crossed that you will benefit from this video and be inspired, and to understand the art of reading, how important it is. Because the most basic way to discover information is through reading. So that is how vital it is for us to learn this skill. It's very important in today's time, especially. Now, what is reading? That is the question that I impose. What is reading? Now, to me, reading is labor. Yeah, it's a physical exercise. It's a physical act of moving your eyes from left to right. Back and forth, just moving your eyes from left to right. That is reading to me. Some define reading differently. They say reading is an activity, and it's a skill that is used for pleasure, and that it's a lifetime skill for one to have. That's amazing. Now, reading helps the reader to find information. It helps the reader to communicate well too. And it's the process of getting the meaning of a passage of text by sight. I repeat what I've just said right now. It is the process of getting the meaning of a passage of text by sight. Now, the word sight has to do with your vision. How well do you see with your eyes? So it makes it clear for us to understand that for us to read, we need to be able to use our eyes. Okay, let's get back to the reading strategies. And the reading strategies are listed. The first reading strategy that we encounter is intensive reading. The second one is extensive reading, followed by reading aloud, reading silently for yourself, word attack skills, interesting. Word attack skills have to do with working out the meaning of an unfamiliar word by having to look at the rest of the context or the sentence to which this new word is found. The finger method, moving your fingers across a page, maybe a page that is found in a book. Perusing, which is to read carefully over something. That is to peruse. After perusing, we have scanning and skimming as a reading, as two reading strategies. Those are the two reading strategies that we finally conclude with as part of our learning activity, of course, for today. All right, now I want us to look at intensive reading in more detail. Yes, I just want us to understand what intensive reading is. And for us to get a clue on what it is, basically, we first have to define what the word intensive means. The word intensive gives us the clue into us understanding this reading strategy. Now, the word intensive, it means using a lot of your effort over a short time. Intensive means using a lot of your effort over a short time. So that is intensive. Anything that's intensive is in that manner. It's strictly concentrated. It's just concentrated. Yes, it involves using a lot of effort. So this gives us a clue. This definition, it gives us a clue of what intensive reading is, basically. Intensive reading, we are reading intensively. We are using a lot of our effort, moving our eyes rapidly from left to right. We are using these, we are using our eyes intensively. So that is intensive reading. In short, in a general sense, before we get to the core definition of it. Now, it is said here that intensive reading is reading everything closely and also accurately. That is intensive reading. That's the meaning of it. Intensive reading. There are a lot of benefits associated with this reading strategy, and one of them is better vocabulary, better language skills, better understanding skills, and much more. That is intensive reading. It's very beneficial for us to apply it as modern day readers. Yes, intensive reading is what we need to practice. Because the more we practice, the better we become. The more we practice, the better we become good readers. And to be a good reader, if you are a good reader, you shouldn't be passive in a sense that You just read whatever that comes to you, your eyes, whatever that your eyes see, you read. No. To be a good reader, you don't have to be passive. You have to read actively. You have to use your thinking skills. That is your natural thinking ability. You use that. Don't be restricted. Right? Now, moving on as part of our lesson, we also have extensive reading that we need to understand. Extensive reading is different from intensive reading in a sense that extensive reading is a process of reading for a longer period of time without doing the following, of course, taking short breaks and feeling overwhelmed. Extensive reading involves SSR. There's a thing called SSR. Do you know what that means? I don't know. But what is revealed is that SSR stands for Sustained Silent Reading. Extensive reading has to do with that. Sustained silence reading. Now, our approach towards learning these reading strategies is quickly going to change for a second. Yes, it's quickly going to change for a second. What we need to do, we need to answer two separate questions. Yes, there are two different questions that we need to understand, that we need to answer actually. Yes, we need to answer these questions. They are very helpful towards us understanding reading strategies. Right? We have question number 1 and we have question number 2. I'm quickly going to give you a few minutes, just a few minutes for you to read these questions, understand them fully, and then answer these questions. And then once that is done, we get to meet collectively and we give our solutions. The correct solutions will be provided once we all answer these questions. Question number 1 and question number 2. I'll quickly round down the countdown timer for you so that when that is done, we get back, we answer these questions quickly. Okay, welcome back to One Schooling Academy. We are still on our topic of reading strategies, and we now had an opportunity. You must have now had the opportunity to fill in all the correct answers for question 1 and for question number 2. Question 1, if we get to have a look at it, let's quickly have a look at question 1. I want to understand what question 1 needs of me. Right. We have the instruction at the top, and it says choose the correct letter for your answer. Task analysis. Choose the correct letter. Never forget that you choose the correct letter. So that is the task for question number 1. Okay, question number 1. Number 1 is the point. 1.1. Which one of the following is not a reading strategy? Is it A, skimming? Is it B, counting? Or is it C, intensive reading? I think the answer is very clear. What's the answer to you? Is it A, skimming? Is it B, counting? Or is it C, intensive reading? I think the answer is B. Yeah. I think the answer is B. Counting is not a reading strategy, guys. Counting is not a reading strategy. Counting is being able to work with numbers, able to count from 1 to 10. Are you able to do that? And if you are able to do that, you're good with working with numbers, right? You can count. It's a numerical skill. It's not a reading skill. So definitely the answer for 1.1, question 1.1 is B, counting. Counting is not a reading strategy for you guys. Okay. Question 1.2 says, reading is done for pleasure and is a ellipsis, simple exercise is A, time-consuming activity is B, lifetime skill C. What's the correct answer? Me, I think the correct answer should be B. Yeah, it should be B. Reading is done for pleasure and is a time-consuming activity. I'm sorry, my bad. Reading is never a time-consuming activity. Reading is never a time-consuming activity. It's a lifetime skill. It's a lifetime skill. Reading is never a simple exercise because some people are not familiar with all languages. Not everyone will have a flair for different languages. Not everyone will have that. Say I am Portuguese, for example. I don't know English. I'm not an Englishman. I'm Portuguese. So when you give me an English book, for instance, and ask me big questions about it, like what's the genre or the theme of the book and all of that, it's going to be difficult for me to answer you back because I'm Portuguese. English is not what I fond of. English is not what I speak. So sometimes reading can become a, a, a difficult exercise for other people because of language barriers, right? But the good part about reading is that it is a lifetime skill in a sense that you learn, you always read even into your old age years. You will always read even until you reach your old age years. So that is our answer for question 1.2. The answer is C. Reading is done for pleasure and is a lifetime skill. 1.3. There's a blank space. To read carefully over something. Is it A, peruse? Is it B, reading aloud? Or is it C, scanning? The question says, to read carefully over something. There's a blank space that needs to be filled. Which term completes the rest of the context? Is to read carefully over something. The answer has to be A. Yes, that's the right answer. To peruse, it is to read carefully over something. I have explained this at the beginning of our learning activity today, where we enlisted all of the reading strategies as part of our learning activity today. Now we move on to question number 2. Question number 2 is as follows. Fill in the missing word in the sentence. So this question is a bit similar to question 1.3 in that there's a missing word that needs to be filled. Task analysis, always keep it to your note. Keep it noted. Task analysis, we fill in the missing word. That is the task for question number 2. 2.1 starts as follows. There's a blank space and we need to fill in the missing word. Involves reading over short quotes like simple sentences. It says involves reading over short quotes like simple sentences? The answer is simple, guys. The answer is intensive reading. Yes, intensive reading involves reading over short quotes like simple sentences. 2.2. Another blank space that we come across, and it says that is the process of taking in the meaning of text by sight. Not a challenging question. The answer is reading. Yes, reading is the process of taking in the meaning of text by sight. Very similar to the definition that we gave at the beginning of the lesson for reading. Extensive reading involves doing a sustained reading. That is question number 2.3. What's the answer? The answer has to be silent. Extensive reading involves doing a sustained silent reading. Sustained silent reading. 2.4 is as follows. One of the benefits associated with it is better vocabulary. The answer is, what's the answer? The answer is intensive reading. Yes, the answer is intensive reading. Right, guys, now that we have answered the two main questions as part of our learning activity today, we get to the final section of this video. We get to the final section of our learning activity today. We look at the difference between scanning and skimming. Scanning and skimming is what we're looking at. Skimming and scanning, scanning and skimming. Scanning is to run your eyes over a text in order to find specific information. For example, looking for a name in a telephone book. Looking for a specific word in a dictionary is a pure example of scanning. Skimming is different. Skimming is different from scanning, skinning and scamming, scamming and scanning and skimming, skinning, skimming and scanning, scanning and skimming. Skimming, it is to read a text quickly to get a general understanding of the information shown. It differs in that it does not involve reading everything closely. That is skimming. A pure example of skimming, it is to Look at newspaper headlines to find that newspaper article that you really are interested in reading. So that is a skimming. That's the difference we make between scanning and skimming. Thank you for participating in watching this tutorial lesson under Wondrous Schooling Academy. References are always listed. I hope that you enjoyed taking part in this lesson and that you will make good progress on your reading process as you watch on this learning activity. Hope to see you in the next lesson that we're going to meet again next time. Thank you very much.